I'm gonna share a video. It's a kid named Tyler. Have not discovered him as yet, but Robin shared one of his videos with me, and it's good. He's good. He's a different energy than I remember. He's talking about the same things, the same esoteric things. Namely, the present is all that exists, and past and future are figments of the imagination only, that swirl around the present moment to create the illusion that you are on the linear timeline, which creates the possibility for physicality. And he also said, which I have not considered mentally too much, but he said that everything is happening simultaneously. So the far past is happening now, and the far future is happening now. But they're happening through the imagination. Because you're always present, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't escape the present. You can go into projection, but that is also contained within the present moment, as is everything. So what we play as physicality, or the avatar game, we play the idea that you as the human are walking along a timeline, and that the past is real and that the future is real, and it creates that illusion. There actually, as far as I've experienced and remember, there isn't anything that's real. There's not a reality. There's not a thing to find. It's just not there. And that's generally how ego death starts out, is the voidness, the 0 point, which is reality, and it is formless, and it's also non-manifest, which is paradoxical, but even within all of this, that point is still unmanifest. And I mean, being that all of this is phenomenal and it's not real, so to speak, the 0 point is really the same thing. The 0 point is no more real than the physicality, the phenomenal appearing form that's always transient and you can't put your finger on it. The 0 point is not really different from that. But the 0 point doesn't contain the human that is thinking about the phenomenal plane and trying to conceptualize it, and even having a finger to put on it, or to try to put on it in the first place. So the one that gets upset, the being that gets upset when it figures out that there isn't anything to grasp, that being is also part of the phenomenal plane, and in that way it's not problematic. It's problematic up until the point where you release the ego self as your sort of prime identity. And you have to go through a bunch of ego deaths. I had to go through a bunch of ego deaths. I probably still have more to come. But with each successive ego death that you go through, you're shedding phenomenal layers. You're shedding the illusion that in some inexplicable way attaches itself to the 0 point, which is more accurately yourself. Even Jesus' message, as I understand it, he's trying to say the same thing, where are the 0 point, you're the present moment, and you accumulate baggage. You accumulate past. I remember when I was going through all my shit in my 20s, when I was smoking weed and having my mind blown over and over. I said to my ex at one point, I was like, and she didn't understand it, but I said, I feel like I need to vomit my life. I feel like I need to like regurgitate, like just vomit it out, because it becomes burdensome. And that's what, as far as I understand it, that's what Jesus' message actually is. And of course that idea got screwed with and turned into religions and methods of control, but the message itself remains untainted, and that is that the past/future conceptual bag that you carry around all day, every day, that's what salvation is from, or it's from the letting go of that baggage in each and every moment. Because the present moment, even with all the conceptual baggage that you carry with it that constitutes your linear perceived life, the present moment does not have baggage inherently. That's something that you as the conscious observer hold on to, or attempt to hold on to, or not. And as long as you're holding on to that baggage, you're constantly trying to get somewhere. You're trying to improve somehow. Always trying to improve. And the 0 point, or the present moment, cannot be improved. It can't even be touched. None of the phenomenal swirlings that pass through it touch it. The consciousness is just consciousness. It is what it is. Every nodal point in the world, which is individuals with their body-mind complexes, are the consciousness, and they are that 0 point. And they collectively come together and start talking to one another, and they're like, what is this? What's going on here? And then you jump back into action, and you jump back into doing. The doers, right? It was some gas oil company, Chevron or something, had that as their catchphrases. We're doers. We're doers. And that very act of doing, conceptualizing an idea, and then moving toward it in physicality, that act itself removes you from the 0 point. And again, that removal from the 0 point is illusory. You can't remove yourself from the 0 point. You are the 0 point. And no matter how much you talk about it, no matter how much you understand it, no matter how much you even feel yourself as the 0 point, there's no stopping phenomenality from happening. And there's no way of forcing yourself into 0 point only, to where no conceptions whatsoever are happening anymore. The thing of free will is also illusory, an inherent illusory part of physicality. Trying to grasp it is endless. That's infinite regress, is when the conceptual mind tries to grasp what all this is. And that's one of the sort of horrors of waking up, is the conceptual mind realizes that it's not doing anything. And yet at the same time, something seems to be happening and there seems to be some way of controlling what's going on, but it's different than the ego self has previously perceived it as. And if you move out of that, way of understanding the realm or the world, then what happens, at least what happened with me, is that the 0 point becomes your seat, or your seat of consciousness, and past and future still are projecting out, branching out, and creating the life, the physical life, but they are much more quiet than they used to be, and they're not as weighty. They're not so, it's not like you're carrying around this baggage that is your past and your future. So salvation in that sense is not something, again, it can't be out in the future, it can only be present, ever. And it's just a personal choice. Like, I will stay present. I will either not project as much, not cast out into the past and future as much, or I will allow those aspects of the being to be quiet, because you can allow them to be quiet and you're still moving through your life, you're still doing things, but you're not carrying around that billion-year accumulation of past and projected future. Both of them are projected. The past is projected just as much as the future is. The only reason we kind of like the idea of the future is because of the unknown aspect. The past is all known. The future is, generally speaking, regurgitated past, unless you're a very special individual that just is newness in every single moment. But to do that even requires that you're very brave, because if you're still operating from the fear or the ego, you can't say, well, anything and everything, because I am anything and everything. You can't say that because you're like, well, that one anything back there hurt. So I don't want to be anything and everything. So like Tyler was saying, what part of what we're doing as being incarnated in the physical or the avatar form is we're forgetting all of the horrifying things that we as the collective has done. And there isn't separation. So the most atrocious things that have been done is part of what is you. And for every horrifying, like worst possible scenario that has been done / will be done, which are the same thing, there's also its counterpart. So there's the heaven realms, there's the relief for sort of situations that we get ourselves into. And you focusing on just the horrifying part, whether your body mind is currently experiencing that, like in this current moment, or not, if you focus just on the horrifying thing that's happening, I gotta go. Peace.